Right, this webcast will look at the construction or pattern it followed by verb, adjective, that. So things like, as exemplified by things like it is clear that, it seems obvious that. How we could compose queries from what we've studied in this unit to try and retrieve a good number of instances of this pattern. So let's start off with it. That seems an obvious place to start. Tends to be followed by a verb. We'll say any kind of verb. Then the next part would seem to be intuitively an adjective, and finally that. Before I do this search, I should point out that that is one of these words which has different functions and they have different tags. In this case, the kind of that we're looking for is has a specific tag all to itself, so we could just put it on. This is that as a conjunction, subordinating conjunction. So we'll use that, and I think that will improve the precision immediately. So let's see how many hits we get for it. Right, what we can see here is we've got 11,700. It's a good number. It seems that most of, well, let's just see. Yeah, most of these seem to be true hits. This one doesn't seem to be. It remains concerned that it would seem to be to refer to something earlier in the text. But otherwise it's dummy it. It is true that. It is likely that. And we could of course check which ones of these are the most frequent. It is clear that. Okay, there we are. It is clear that is the most frequent. With about 10% of all possibilities. Other verbs apart from is, be, or seems, became. Yeah, those seem to be the main ones. Right, we might be happy at this stage and say, okay, we've retrieved enough instances of this, but we might also think that it seems possible to have an adverb here like reasonably. It seems reasonably clear that. So we could just check to see how many of these there are by including an adverb tag here and not forgetting to make it optional, and see how many more hits we get this time. Right, it looks like we've got quite a few more hits, and we've got things like it is also likely, it's also plain that. So this does seem entirely understandable. That this does seem to have retrieved more relevant hits and improved our recall without obviously making precision suffer. So that seems to have been quite effective. At this stage you might say that's great, or you might think that in fact we haven't looked at other forms of this verb here which might have auxiliaries like it was, it has been, has become clear that, so present perfect, or possibly modal verbs too. So just in case you wanted to look at that, we could look for any form of the verb have, for present past perfect, and any modal verb. This is another very useful tag for looking for verbs like can, may, should, must, etc. And see how this changes our results. Of course, you need to remember to make this part optional, or you get a false result. Right, we're up to 15,940. That doesn't seem to have made a massive difference. Although we have got some, like it has become clear that, and any ones, it may be significant that there's modal included. Of course we could do all these searches separately, but if we want to put them all together, this is one way of doing it. And we'll just check again, see if there are any particular frequent ones. So there's still the most common ones are it is clear that, it is possible that. Doesn't seem to have changed much a lot down here. I think there are a couple on the next page. Go down a little bit. It has become clear that has 31 hits, so it does occur quite a bit, and it should be clear that it occurs 28 times. So that's quite interesting. This is also quite a good way of checking that the most common hits you've got are the ones that you're interested in. So a kind of way of checking precision in quite a crude way.